G'day, I'm Mark. I've been working with Getaway Trekking for the last 12 years. I've done the Kokoda Trek about 25 times. I suppose my passion for trekking really started probably about 10-15 years ago. I was heavily involved in triathlons for a long time, but I probably wanted to do a different sort of sport. I was feeling, the effects of probably too much triathlon training. I've always loved the outdoors. And about 10-12 years ago, the Adelaide Crows with Getaway Trekking. So I joined that, being an Adelaide Crows passionate person. And that really started the journey. So I did one trek with Getaway then as a client. And then after that, discussed with Getaway how I could do trek leading, and that's basically how it started. I still consider myself fairly fit and healthy and young. I expect to be going for a few more years. It's one of those jobs which you really got to have a lot of passion for. You got to really enjoy doing what you do, because it actually is quite time consuming and it does take a fair bit out of you. You want to do it because you love it. And I actually really love it. I love the people over there. I love the crew that I work with. I love the trekkers. I love taking school kids or adults. So I'm in that very good spot where I really enjoy it. So no, I consider I'll be doing this for a long time. A lot of people do it as a bucket list to be able to tick off the bucket to say, hey, I've done Kokoda, that's cool. A lot of people might have had family friends, or maybe their great uncle or their grandfather actually serves with the Australian Army in New Guinea. So we have people with a bit of a military background. I have a lot of ex-army people doing it. I also get a lot of sporting groups doing it where they're doing it as a bit of a challenge. I'll get a lot of father and sons, husbands, wives, but we always make sure at Getaway Trekking that people come away with a very good sense of history. I'll be disappointed if one of my trekkers came back to Australia and didn't really understand what happened over there. So I see it as well as a physical challenge, a cultural and a bit of a history lesson as well. I always encourage the trekkers to talk to them. Talk to the boys, get to know them so they can get to know you as a person. If they get to know you as a person, they'll start laughing with you, they'll do little jokes with you. Once they know that you're on side and that you're okay with a bit of a humour, you get a lot more out of it. But just be relaxed, enjoy the moment. You're living and breathing a different culture, a different community. Embrace yourself and you'll love it. I love the moss forest. I find it's a very eerie place. It's where the Australians engage with the Japanese, almost like a New Zealand setting. It's up very, very high, up 1,900 metres. To me, it really brings home the injustices and the difficulties of the war and how hard it would have been back in 1942 to fight a war against a superior, outnumbered force coming towards you as an Aussie soldier supported by the Indigenous. Do some online searches or maybe speak to some mates who've done it before. Word of mouth is always very good, but you certainly want to have a trekking company that does a lot of treks throughout the year. That way you probably know they've got a lot of backup. They've got a lot of systems in places, a lot of safety procedures. They've done the wilderness first aid, they've got the equipment, so if there is an evacuation at some stage, they're very well drilled on that area, which is what we are at Getaway. You certainly want to make sure that the company you've got gives you a lot of information. We provide training walks, which I take, for example, in the Adelaide Hills once a month to see whether people are keen to do it. And I'll tip out my bag and I'll show them what I take, what I don't take, and I'll talk to them about the walk, what's involved, how you can do it successfully. So sometimes I've taken people on training walks and they've realised this is not what I want to do, or I've said, look, to be honest, I think you need to train a bit more, maybe you should come back next year. We have those very open, honest discussions, and Getaway's very good like that. You be totally upfront with the trekkers and tell them how it is, and then they can make their own decision.